Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Fireside Talk, where two idiots sit down and discuss any random topic. In today's episode, we're looking at r/am I the asshole?
Ah, yes, the internet's infinite bucket of people who have really, really poor self insight.
Well, some of them have good insight. It's just they realize that they need an impartial perspective.
Yeah, it's a variety of things, which is why it makes for interesting conversation.
Yes. We're going to start off with the story. Am I the asshole for insisting a restaurant remake my order? The person goes on to say, I went out to a fancy burger place recently. Part of USP was that you could add things to your burger, like cheese or an extra patty. I ordered and made some alterations like the sauce and two extra patties because I was hungry and feeling greedy and indulgent that day. It was a huge, decadent burger. However, the burger came by default with tomatoes. Now, I'm allergic to tomatoes, nothing fatal, but my face puffs up and I get a sore throat. This happens even if I eat something that tomatoes have touched, so removing them doesn't work. I expressly asked the waitress to not add tomatoes to my food, saying that I'm allergic. When the food comes, there are tomatoes in my burger. Due to the above reasons, I asked them to take it back and make a new one. The restaurant refused, saying that they'd used a lot of ingredients for my burger, so they couldn't do me another without charging me for both. I said it's their fault because I specifically requested no tomatoes at time of order. They told me to just remove the slices myself, but I refused due to cross contamination. When they refused to remake the burger, I put down enough for the drink I'd had and left the building. I thought I'd acted reasonably, but my girlfriend said that I should have paid for both because I could afford it and that a custom order could be expensive for the restaurant. I think that's insane, especially as I warned them about the tomatoes thing well in advance and that it was their fault I'd be paying for. I'm gonna go not the asshole.
I'm also going to go not the asshole on this. It's a pretty straightforward question, really. If you inform someone, like, hey, this substance is dangerous to me, do not put it in my food. When he's ordering a specific product and the restaurant in question allows you to, specify a product, to customize your order. If they fail to deliver on that custom order, then that's on them. If he's clear about communicating what he wants the order to be and he gets a different product, then he isn't getting what he has paid for. It would be like me going to McDonald's, ordering a cheeseburger, and they hand me some fries, and I'm not going to eat these. I didn't want fries. I wanted a cheeseburger. It's the exact same thing.
Also, the funny thing is, the restaurant refused, saying that they'd used a lot of ingredients for my burger, so they couldn't do me another without charging me for both. And also, his girlfriend says a custom order would be expensive for the restaurant. Wouldn't removing ingredients save the restaurant money, though?
Yeah, but apparently the people who were putting the order together were either too absent-minded, overworked, or just incompetent to follow through.
Sounds kind of sketchy to me, to be honest. The whole like, oh no, we already made you the burger and we used a lot of ingredients, so because we are giving you this food that you're allergic to, we want to charge you for another. That seemed sketchy.
It's like turning up to someone's door, going, "Hey, I mowed your lawn or whatever. Now pay me."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I can kind of see that.
All right.
Let's find another then. Maybe we should sort this by new, because that never gets any good stories.
That's true. Let's actually go to new then. Come on. Am I the asshole for telling my father's family I don't want to see them?
Hmm.
Posted a minute ago. Look, growing up, I was certain of two things. One, my father has some sort of mental issue, later discovered to be malignant narcissism. And two, his family sucks. Let me explain. My father has basically denied me as his child, despite paternity tests ordered by the court for child support, my entire life. I was born extremely pale and have stayed that way. No one knows why, just a fluke of genetics. Not something that can be changed or anything. His family backed him up for years, and I mean years. They enabled him to go treat me like crap, and you can imagine what I mean by crap, but he's a malignant narcissist with sadistic tendencies, so yeah. They treated me badly, they treated me worse than that, treated my mother awful, accused her of cheating, called her names, etc. So we get to the presents. I've been estranged to them for about 4 years, and they've recently contacted me and invited me to a social distant backyard cookout. I said I wouldn't be attending. I've gotten Facebook messages, text messages from a few cousins who have my number. They've been blocked since. Even called asking why I'm being so mean and distant, why I'm cutting off my family, how much it hurts them. I said I don't want to see them and that they're about 10 years too late. Summary, my family's trying to get me to go to a cookout with them, but they took his side when he was hurting me, so I don't want to.
I'm gonna say not the asshole.
Yeah, no, that's a not the asshole.
Yeah, like there are a lot of stories out there of people who have grown up in hostile environments where they have given the hostile party, well, in this example, the father, sometimes given a lot of chances for the other party to improve upon matters, and when that is not done, when opportunity is presented, then they are not really in the right to demand anything.
Besides, it strikes me, he has mental issues, malignant narcissism and sadistic tendencies. So what?
Yeah.
Having mental issues doesn't excuse you being an asshole.
As a sadistic narcissist, I have to agree.
I too am extremely humble.
Yeah.
No, but it's also like, okay, so he was born pale. I'm gonna go out on a limb and guess that this means his father and his mother is of African descent.
Yeah, well, I mean, we don't have this information. It's just,
well,
apparently the dad feels like, yeah, there's a chance the mother cheated. That's not really the point here. It's like, if this person was the father figure growing up, then at least he could try to not be a shit father figure. But
it doesn't matter about the father figure either, because despite paternity tests showing that he is the father.
Yeah, well, so the entire issue is out the window. But it's like, if it doesn't matter if it was, his biological father or if it was Bob the stranger who lived at the house. If someone is hostile over an extended time period, then why the fuck should they have a right to anything?
Yeah.
Like, family, quote unquote, is a privilege. It's, if you want to spend time with them, then that should be because they evoke feelings of happiness in you. That they are wholesome, supportive people that you like having around. That should be the basis for a familial bond, not the circumstances of birth.
Blood makes you related, loyalty makes you family.
Yeah, and also people keep misquoting the blood is thicker than water line.
The blood of the covenant is thicker than the womb of the water.
All the way around, water of the womb. But yeah, it's basically down to the bonds you forge yourself through time with people you care about is far more important than, the fluke of birth.
Yeah. Alright, let's see here. Am I the asshole for not appreciating something I didn't want? This could get interesting.
I mean, based on the tagline here, then I'm going to say no.
Long story short, I have a really good friend. Lately, we've been kind of falling out, and a mutual friend of ours claims it's because he doesn't feel appreciated. Okay. I talk to him every day. I frankly don't need nor want advice on certain situations, but listen to what he has to say regardless. Recently, he told me to not get into the relationship I'm in now, but I'm genuinely happy and I've never been this happy before. I acknowledged what he said, but I didn't change my mind on getting into this relationship. I'm upset because he seems to be mad that I didn't do what he says, but I don't think I need to particularly do everything he says. And the OP adds and edits, me and my boyfriend previously were together and broke up for many reasons, none being infidelity reasons or abuse. My friend used to like me for some years, but I'm sure we're past that. I'm going to go with not the asshole.
Yeah, and me too. Like, nobody has a right to the emotional life of anyone else. And
no.
Again, it's all right to give advice. But you shouldn't feel entitled to anyone else following said advice. I have given entirely valid advice to people in the past, and they have not followed on that advice to their detriment. I have not been upset at them for not following said advice, because it's their life, and how they make their choices is down to their personality.
Yeah, exactly. And also, I think there's something more at play here, though, because, as OP says, my friend used to like me for some years, and then he gets mad that OP does not take the advice to not get into the relationship.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
that seems
Like, yeah, there could be quote unquote something there, but again, whether or not that's the case is irrelevant to the core of the question. Whether or not it's unreasonable. Yeah. Whether or not the person is the asshole. I'm gonna say no.
Yeah, I'm gonna go not the asshole.
Wow, we tend to be agreeing on a lot of these things, huh?
It's because we are logical, reasonable people.
Yes, it's like we're smart or something. I really hope we find something controversial soon where we can have an argument.
Oh, well, look at this. Am I the asshole for calling my autistic ex abusive?
Why are you looking at me?
Because you're autistic.
Yeah, but I'm not abusive. And I'm also not your ex.
No, you're not my ex, but I know a lot of your exes.
I don't think any of my exes would call me abusive.
I can come up with one example that we should not talk about on YouTube.
I think I can see the situation you're talking about.
Anyways, yes, am I the asshole for calling my autistic ex abusive? Disclosure, the account this is being posted on is my current girlfriend's Reddit account because mine is having issues posting. Probably a new account, I'm guessing.
I think there's a karma limit thing on that. I'm not all that sure about it myself.
So, OP says, so I moved out of my old apartment and left my ex of 3 years there. She's an autistic trans woman. One of our mutual friends is telling me that saying she was abusive is ableist of me. I'll note that neither that friend or I are autistic. Okay?
Well, that is fascinating.
What a fucking banger of a start.
Well, keep reading. I'm transfixed. Haha.
Shut the fuck. Oftentimes, while passing her or adjusting myself in bed or on the couch, I would accidentally brush her and she would start yelling at me for pushing myself on her. When I tried to explain that it was an accident, she wouldn't believe me and continue yelling. This started after we had a conversation in which she told me she was uncomfortable with being asked or asking for consent, even though I made it clear that I was uncomfortable doing anything without consent. She wanted me to just go for it. I was not comfortable with that. My friend says she felt like she was unable to understand me and that is why she acted like that. She cheated on me with at least 4 people I know of and we were in a poly relationship. I joined a Discord server and had 2 people I didn't know tell me they were also dating her. The 4th person I know of told me I wasn't wanted and that sent me into a mental breakdown. When I tried telling my ex, she told me I should just not talk to the 4th person. Later, she told me that I antagonized the 4th person first when I didn't. My friend agrees this is fucked up. Whenever I told my ex I wanted some time alone, she would get angry at me and tell me that I was punishing her, even though I told her I was never punishing her. My friends told me I made her doubt herself and was toxic to her for this. My ex, for the 3 years, never got a job and said things like, I'll starve if you don't get me this. Anytime I tried helping her get a job or go back to school or get a doctor or a therapist, so she should get her autism diagnosed and get all other things easier, she would not accept my help and get upset at the offer. My friend says that she needs a strict structure and I need to be more accepting of one-time changes. There's plenty more, I'm just hitting my limit on being able to handle this. Basically, my friend tells me I'm being ableist because my ex tried really hard to understand me by going to other people's looking for advice and how to word things in a way I understand. To me, all our conversations were about what she wanted and gave me no room to express myself or talk about what I needed/wanted. I have no doubt that she's autistic and that there were struggles because of that, but I speak very plainly and say what I mean because my parents used my words against me. I'm sure I didn't help the situation, but I stayed with my ex so long because I convinced myself I was the problem and had to fix myself.
Wow.
Not the asshole.
Well, from which direction should we start solving this particular Rubik's Cube?
Jesus
There's so much to
Christ, this is the Ouroboros of go fuck yourself.
I mean, okay, as the resident autistic person, God, I think I'm gonna be the staple everything of everything here.
Jesus, mother of Christ.
Yeah, well, your phone just lit up. Does that mean it's having an aneurysm and stop recording?
No, I had a snap roll in. Just
roll with it and we'll edit this part out. Anyway, right. Don't fucking sigh at me. I'll beat you up. Anyway.
You will try.
Oh, I'll succeed. Anyway, so, the,
Okay, so I just want to point out, One of our mutual friends is telling me that me saying she was abusive is ableist of me.
Let's start with that one.
What?
I'm gonna go with this. This particular friend is not exactly the cream of the crop. Not the sharpest spoon in the drawer. Not a sharpest ladle even.
Okay, this goes back to what I said in the last post about like mental issues not excusing you from being an asshole.
Yeah, exactly. Like as the resident autistic person, I gotta say, me being autistic doesn't excuse the times I'm legitimately malignant. Like I don't often do toxic or hostile things, but those times I have, and those are few and far between, thank fuck. I can't, wave my hands and say, oh, it's all right because I'm autistic. Because it isn't. If I understand that my behavior is problematic and someone informs me that, hey, my behavior is either making them uncomfortable or to a greater extent just being a problem, then that is something I need to change with myself. I wouldn't be upset at someone for thinking I'm a cunt when I'm being a cunt.
And I just want to point out that the ex of this story
Yeah.
is incredibly contradictory.
In what particular fashion?
Well, let's start off with the paragraph about consent,
Ah, yes.
where, as OP states, consent is incredibly important to him, as it should be to everybody.
Agreed.
Where the ex says that she wants OP to just go for it, basically just being like, if they're laying in bed cuddling, stick his dick in.
And then yelling at him for brushing up against her.
Yeah.
That's I'm gonna go
those
with,
are mixed fucking signals.
it's not just mixed signals, it's a fucking train collision.
So I mean, the next paragraph is not really something that I can speak of in and of itself, seeing as I have never been in a polyamorous relationship.
Well, as the resident poly person, man,
You're the resident everything for this channel.
Yeah, fucking hell. I seem to be striking all the notes in this post.
Does this mean we can get a government grant?
Oh.
Autistic polyamorous? Is there a government grant for that?
I don't know. I think
ease my mental suffering of having to hang out with you.
I'm starting to feel like I'm some sort of modern art exhibit. At any rate, I'm gonna have to say that is not in any way, shape, or form a healthy, proper polyamorous relationship. If you don't know about the other participants, then that's not a polyamorous relationship. That is something sketchy happening.
Yeah, because
it's based on communication and, well, informed consent of all parties.
OP says he joined a Discord server and had two people he didn't know tell OP that they were also dating the ex.
Which is a big no-no. Like, as a poly person, whenever I hear about these kinds of things, I go like, no, that's not a polyamorous relationship. That is just malignant toxicity. That's
you're not in a polyamorous relationship. You're just a cheating scumbag.
You're just hoarding partners, but not in a functioning fashion.
Gotta catch them all.
Yeah. Like, I've been in polyamorous relationships myself. I mean, that's why I can really speak to this. And at no point was I in one where anyone was not informed of the other people. Like, where someone wasn't all right with it. Because if a polyamorous relationship is to be a true polyamorous relationship, all the involved parties need to know about one another and be cool with the whole dynamic.
Yeah, and
of course, the more people you involve, the more connections you gotta start juggling, so it can get really stressful and complicated if you go like above 5 people. That then becomes
somebody who's never been in a polyamorous relationship, I just want to point out that from an outsider's perspective, everybody knowing about everybody and being cool with everybody seems like the bare fucking minimum.
Yeah, it's like seems like an intelligent baseline.
It just seems like the bare fucking minimum needed.
Yeah, but it isn't the first story on the internet I've seen about situations like those. There's a lot of there's one of the reasons that polyamorous people is so stigmatized in modern society is because of shit like this. Casts a bad light on the rest of us.
But yes, moving on. Whenever I told my ex I wanted some time alone, she would get angry at me and tell me that I was punishing her.
Yeah, that actually reminds me of a situation I've been in myself again.
That seems like emotional abuse.
That is definitely emotional abuse. It's
Sorry, but needing time to yourself, whether it be, going away for the weekend with the boys, in big quotation marks, or just going on the shitter for like 10 minutes extra scrolling on your phone because you need some privacy or some space to just sit down and actually like decompress,
yeah.
is not an unreasonable request.
No.
And if somebody tells you that you're being unreasonable and you're an asshole for wanting 5 minutes to yourself to decompress,
Well, I mean, let's take my little life story here as a bit of a parallel. I was in a relationship once where I had to shower my significant other with constant attention. Basically, I didn't have a sort of life of my own anymore, which was very hard on me, and my interactions with other people were very limited because my partner was less than enthusiastic about me using time with other people. So eventually, I wound up completely reversing my sleep schedule and staying up all night so I could talk to people on the internet and feel less suffocated. And that had some really serious effects on my life in general. It
Yeah.
is basically abusive in nearly every way you can. It can get to the point where you can consider physical abuse because of the the long-term negative side effects that has on the physiology of whoever it's being done to.
And then we move on to, I'm guessing, yes, it is the last paragraph, where the ex never got a job and said things like, I'll starve if you don't get me this.
Yeah.
That is abuse.
That's definitely abuse. It's
that is abuse.
Yeah, it's threats of harm.
And it honestly seems like the ex wants to mosey on through life mooching off of other people because, as OP says, anytime he tried helping her get a job, go back to school, or a doctor or therapist so she could actually have her autism diagnosed.
Yeah, then it's no longer an inability to do things on their own. Then it's active resistance to intelligent improvement in their own life.
Yes.
That shows that something's up. That is not an all right situation.
My friend says that she needs a strict structure and I need to be more accepting of one-time changes.
Yeah, like how does that make it a strict structure if there's changes happening, huh? No, but like, yeah, a lot of autistic people do need structures,
Not denying
consistency. However, that again doesn't mean that anyone should be at the complete mercy of their significant other at every minute of the day.
So yeah, no. I'm guessing we're landing on not the asshole.
Not the asshole, probably needs therapy.
Yeah. And also, just to answer that one side question, that's not being ableist.
Not at all.
That's wanting what's best for the other person.
Yeah, like you shouldn't push yourself to stay in a relationship that's harming your psychology. Also.
Let's see.
Next little entry here.
Should we go for, will I be the asshole if I reported someone I work with for substance misuse?
Ooh,
They're not even saying abuse, they're saying misuse.
This sounds fascinating.
It does indeed.
See what it's about?
OP says, I work on a mental health rehab ward, and the new assistant psychologist has me concerned. She's always talking about drinking excessively after work, and she admits to using cocaine, which is more rife in the medical field than people realize. I guess. The key part that I'll be worried is that she's currently obsessed with losing weight. At first, she said how she was buying metformin, which is a diabetic medicine apparently, to lose weight. I understand it can be used as an appetite suppressant, so I didn't think much of it. A few weeks later, she then confesses to an office full of carers that she's up to injecting insulin even though she isn't diabetic. In her pursuit of weight loss, ignoring all dangers doing so can do. On the wards I work on, have substance abusers and eating disorder service users, and she's meant to be providing psychology treatment to these people. And honestly, I don't think she is fit to do so. She's young and moved a long way to get this job, and I know the assistant psychology jobs are really hard to get. Would I be the asshole if I reported her? No.
I'm also gonna go with a no. She's in a caring profession. She's supposed to be helping people with these particular issues, and then she's inflicting said issues on herself in a really malignant fashion.
Yeah,
I think she is, at best, she is on sketchy moral grounds, and at worst, she's an active threat to the patients because of her skewed views on the problem.
Yeah, because like the thing that really makes me react on this is like, I'm not gonna make light of eating disorders, like anorexia, bulimia, all that good stuff. It's fucking horrible, and the fact that she's working, it says here, working with people who have substance abuse issue and eating disorder issues, and she is actively using medication like metformin and insulin in order to suppress her hunger to lose weight. Sounds like a dangerous fucking path to go down.
Yeah, it's
Sounds like the beginnings of an eating disorder, if you ask me.
It's like the counselor turning up sloshed to an AA meeting.
Exactly.
It's sketchy at best.
Yeah, I did report this person, like, for God's sakes, please.
Yeah, like, immediately.
Like, okay, they might lose their job, but would you,
Yeah, they need counseling.
They need counseling.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, mental health is a minefield.
It is indeed. Fun shit.
Again, people should not be worried about seeking help. If anyone listening is feeling like they have any sort of problem, don't feel afraid to reach out to someone professional to even just talk about your problems. Sometimes just talking to someone can make all the difference.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Next story. Am I the asshole for not wanting to meet my boyfriend's parents yet? I, a 20-year-old female, have been dating my boyfriend, a 19-year-old male, for a year and a half. We're both in medical school, and that's how we met. This is my first relationship. Both our parents know about the relationship. We met each other's parents when they came to drop us off at university. It's a small school, so everyone's parents met each other, but I haven't really spoken to his parents since then. His parents want to meet me officially since I'm dating their son, but I don't want to yet. I love my boyfriend and this is a serious relationship, but his family is a bit conservative in the sense that they look at me as a potential daughter-in-law. I do want to marry him someday, but I don't want these kinds of stuffy expectations on me so early. I wouldn't want to marry him after we finish medical school and get jobs which would be in 6-7 years. That's given our relationship lasts that long. My parents, on the other hand, are happy for me, but would want to have a relationship with him if we get more serious in the future. They're leaving my relationship alone for now. This is how I would expect it to be, honestly, since we both come from a culture where dating is a relatively new concept. But his parents keep wondering why I don't want to meet them yet. My boyfriend says he doesn't mind, but I know he would like for me to meet his family. Am I the asshole for not wanting to have a relationship with them?
I'm gonna go with no.
I'm gonna go with not the asshole.
Yeah, it's like, again, nobody has a right to a relationship with anyone.
No, exactly.
And like furthermore, she's in medical school. She is entirely justified to feel like minimizing the pressures on her in daily life. I I mean, I was in a serious long term relationship where my significant other didn't meet my parents for nearly two, yeah, like 1.5 years, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, and yeah, no problem.
I mean, sure, like from a traditional standpoint, I guess the meeting of the parents is a milestone or whatever. But like OP says at the end, am I the asshole for not wanting to have a relationship with them? It's not that you don't want to have a relationship with them, it's that you're not comfortable meeting them right now.
And it's also more a statement about wanting to avoid those particular rather suffocating expectations.
Which is fair.
Yeah, when you're in medical school, you have other shit you want to keep your mind on.
Yeah,
Yeah, like medical school.
exactly.
Yeah,
So,
not the asshole, in my opinion.
yes, I'm gonna go with not the asshole as well.
Yeah, man, I wish we could find more assholes. Maybe we
You
should
wanna
open Grinder.
Do you want to go like go into the tag section and just look up asshole stories?
Oh yes.
Yes, let's do that for our
Yeah.
final one.
Final. Are we ending it this soon?
This soon? We've been going for over half an hour, my dude. I think. I don't know. I can't see.
I wish my exes said the same.
Oh my god, you can't filter by asshole flares? Are you fucking serious? Why not?
Wow, what a bunch of assholes.
Fuck those guys. Let's see. Is there any story on the popular page that has been given the asshole rating?
Or the controversial one, if they still have that.
Not sure, because they have like the Meta monthly forum and not the asshole.
Wow, that is.
How about asshole archives? Was that assholes? There we go.
Yeah, let's loudly talk about opening an internet asshole archive.
Yes.
Yes, we are okay. We're not gonna get treated well by the algorithm.
We're so fucked.
We're swearing. We're saying the A word quite a lot. Man, the only way this could be worse is if we were from a minority.
Yeah, I'm just
not gonna comment on that either.
Let's see. Am I the asshole for setting boundaries between my daughter and my ex-husband's partner?
What the fuck?
Excuse you? My ex-husband Dan and I have a 10-year-old daughter, Emily. We divorced 8 years ago after Dan came out as gay and he effectively left me for one of his friends from work, Jim. They didn't have an affair, but there were definitely feelings before we separated. They now live together. I remarried 4 years ago to my husband, Nick. Dan and I share custody of Emily pretty much 50-50. Given the asshole rating and the first line there about Dan being gay, I have a feeling this is going to venture into the homophobic territory.
Or it's going to be more like, I don't want you to talk to the guy that my husband left me for. Which, I mean, you could make an argument for that being entirely fair and like emotionally speaking from the mother's perspective, but at the same time, you're robbing your child of autonomy. Yeah, let's continue.
Let's see. One source of tension has been with Emily's relationship with Jim. Okay? With Jim. Dan, Nick, and I all come from very conservative Christian backgrounds, whereas Jim is from a very left-wing Jewish Italian family. Jesus Christ, that is a smorgasbord of what the fuck.
Oh, this sounds like it might be an interesting round of Russian roulette.
Mm-hmm. Emily has always been something of a free spirit, and she and Jim get on like a house on fire. She and Nick have a good relationship, but Nick is more of a typical stepfather. She respects Nick, but she's obsessed with Jim. She always wants us to be doing what he's doing. She's developed a bad habit of walking around the house without shoes or socks because he does. She only eats her eggs hard-boiled because that's how he eats them. She always talks about how funny he is. I had to put my foot down last year when she started calling Dan and Jim her dads, but didn't call Nick her dad.
Okay, let's interject a part here. First off, we're Norwegians walking without shoes on inside is an entirely normal thing.
Yeah, no,
Also-
for us it's completely normal.
And also, if you start controlling how your child eats their eggs or like prefers their eggs, maybe there's a couple too many cracks in your eggshell.
Yeah, maybe there's nothing wrong with the child, maybe there's something wrong with you.
And also, yeah, if she is calling those two, both of them, her dads, then that means that what was his name again? The father's new boyfriend.
His father's new boyfriend's Jim? Yes.
Yes, that she calls Jim also her dad. That means that Jim is able to take on a more fatherly role than she feels her new stepfather has done, which isn't, let's say, surprising considering that conservative step-parents tend to be more inaccessible than non-conservative step-parents.
I just want to point out that she said I had to put my foot down last year when she started calling Dan and Jim her dads, but didn't call Nick her dad. Who the fuck are you to say who she calls dad?
Exactly. It's more that maybe she feels invalidated in that her new partner isn't getting an equal treatment to her ex's.
Well, we can figure that out if we read on.
Yes, let's study this catastrophe.
It all came to a head last month when she came home from a week at theirs and proudly showed us some of the Italian that Jim had been teaching her. Turns out she'd asked him to teach her Yiddish and Italian. I asked her why, and she said that not only was it fun to have secret conversations with Jim, she was the only child who could carry it on. This really annoyed me because she isn't Jim's child and she doesn't have an ancestral language to carry on. Our family only speaks English and always has. I also felt like this made her relationship with Nick even more unequal, as he doesn't have another language to teach her and bond with her over. I immediately phoned Dan and expressed that I felt Jim was stepping over the line and getting too involved. Dan got uncharacteristically angry at me. He said that if I have a problem with Emily being closer to Jim than Nick, then it was up to Nick to build up his relationship with Emily. Yes, not up to Jim to tear his down. I said that Nick couldn't do that as he didn't get to just be the fun parent like Jim does, because Nick has to be the only father figure in our household, whereas Jim can just be Emily's friend. Dan told me that I was being ridiculous and accused me of being homophobic, which is ludicrous. Well, I mean, we steered clear of the homophobic part at least.
I mean, she isn't like obviously super homophobic or anything. She's just kind of
an asshole.
An asshole, yes. Man, how we couldn't think of that before there.
He must have said something about it to Emily, as she stopped talking about Jim in our house, which I'm glad about, but she's been very frosty with us. Nick has tried to get her involved in things they can do together, but she's not showing any interest. I feel like I did have to say something, but I'm worried I went over Nick's head and made things worse and should have left him to handle it. I just want Jim to stop overstepping. He's not overstepping, though.
No, he is establishing a relationship with his stepdaughter.
Yeah.
He is being a father, a cool dad, which, is entirely alright for a stepfather to want to be a father.
Yeah.
Like to be a father figure. That is something that ought to be encouraged. And she is, if she feels like it, and he feels like it, then she is, by all metric I can care to think about, his child.
Exactly.
And why the fuck would you be against your child learning languages? Italian is a very rich and storied language, and Yiddish is a very rich and storied language. One of my favorite words is in Yiddish. I'm probably going to butcher the pronunciation, something horrid. I do believe it's fatpochket, which translates, I do believe, to when there's something that's slightly broken and in your attempt to fix it, you make it worse.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a word we need.
Yeah,
I'm willing to take my hat off for Yiddish just for that word.
It's like... Okay, because she said it was fun to have secret conversations with Jim.
Yeah.
This reminds me of another Am I the Asshole story that I read where the parents had separated and the child was getting really into linguistics and she was reading Lord of the Rings.
And learned, Quenya?
No, learned the fact that J.R.R. Tolkien had created the languages of Elvish and Mordor Blackspeak from the ground up as their own languages. She started creating her own language
Yeah.
that she refused to teach her mother. Not because, because of the fact that there was something else going on there. There was something about the divorce. It could be something like that, where it's like she's having secret conversations with Jim without her mother and stepfather being able to understand them.
But that would be entirely fine, because then again, like, nobody has a right to anyone else's private conversations.
Yeah, fair.
Like, well, the story you mentioned here, the mother in that is obviously also the asshole. Again, you don't have a right to anyone else's thoughts. If you think you do, then you're going down some pretty sketchy paths.
And also, I can't get over that fucking line of, I had to put my foot down last year when she started calling Dan and Jim her dads, but didn't call Nick her dad.
Yeah, again, that is more on Nick's failure to be a father. Like, it's obviously stated there that he feels I need to be the father figure, while Jim can be the friend. No, that is stating there is that he is being shall we say, the conservative, traditional image of the father, which is usually a very controlling presence, the whole stonewalling thing and all of that. Whilst Jim is being an accessible person that she can form a close bond with. Like one, in my opinion, one should be able to do with a parent. Like, yeah, a parent should be, shall we say, direct and consequent with their child at times, being like, no, you can't fucking throw rocks at the homeless people, or like, no, you can't stick a fork in the outlet, or like, yes, you need to do these particular chores because, everyone's got to pitch in to some extent. Which is fair as long as it's not taken to any extremes.
View entire discussion. 2,400 comments. Oh, girl, you done fucked up.
I do believe I saw some edits.
Oh, yeah, right. She actually edited the post. Yes. Let's see. Edit. Thank you, everyone, for the insight. I made it clear in the comments that in my
original post.
That in my original post, but I left my very religious upbringing a little under 10 years ago, hence why I'm on Reddit in the first place. Oh yes, because Reddit is the bastion of the anti-conservative people.
It's a little bit of both. Reddit is like a melting pot of society. And as per the usual, the scum rises to the top.
And clearly have a long way to go when it comes to unlearning a lot of things that are more ingrained than I thought. Unfortunately, I'm not a troll, just someone who's been viewing a situation with blinkers on. I've read through all the comments, even the ones calling me evil and irredeemable, and will be taking a lot of your advice moving forwards. It won't happen overnight, but there are some sobering things to take on board. I'll give an update if the mods let me, as a few people have asked for that. Edit 2, we wear socks and slippers inside, not shoes. But it seems like this is apparently a much stranger rule than I thought, so I'm very open to swallowing my pride on that one.
I mean, I'm currently wearing slippers, so I can't really say anything on that.
But hey, look at I look at the bright side of this. Yes, you're an asshole, but hey, at least you're willing to admit it.
Yeah, like if you're open to input and you're willing to reflect on your own behaviors, that at least shows that, this is not an irredeemable person by any metric.
No, exactly. Like, in and of itself, the ability to reflect on your wrongdoings and the fact that you are willing to concede that you did something bad shows in my head that, yeah, okay, sure, you may be an asshole in this situation. You're not a horrible person.
I'm also going to say that doesn't just apply to, like, negative behavioral patterns.
I'm also just going to check. So they don't really tell their age.
It doesn't matter.
No, but I want to see something because, like, if you're 20 and you left a religious upbringing 10 years ago, that's going to change the dynamic of how ingrained something is than if you're 50 and left it 10 years ago.
I mean, definitely.
So I just wanted to see if there were, like, how old they were given how long they then had been indoctrinated, so to speak.
I mean, indoctrination isn't really a question of time. It's about,
effectiveness.
Yeah, again, like, this is a very difficult thing to talk about because from one perspective, like the outside perspective, the quote-unquote religious indoctrination is something to be demonized, funnily enough. It's something very sketchy, whilst from the inside, it's a very, positive place to be, and everyone on the outside is, the monstrous ones. It's, the different perspectives on the situation.
Yeah, no, like, the user type 1 error
Yeah.
has the best fucking answer to this out of all of us, anyways. Cut the crap about overstepping his bounds. This is your real issue. And then he puts in the quote, Dan, Nick, and I all come from very conservative Christian backgrounds. Jim is showing an interest in your daughter. She seems to enjoy him and love spending time with him. In other words, your daughter is happy and has another adult in her life who cares about her. If you really cared about your daughter, you would be happy for her. You may call yourself a Christian, but there's nothing Christ-like about your behavior. You're the asshole.
Yeah. Well, I don't want this to degenerate into a discussion on the merits and demerits of religion and whatever.
No, we can save that for another fucking Fireside Talks.
Oh, yes, there's a lot of things to be said on religion. A lot of positive things, a lot of negative things. But let's just get down to the nitty-gritty of this. Policing exerting your quote-unquote parental authority because you feel slighted by your child's appreciation of another person is indicating that you are putting your own emotional needs ahead of the emotional needs of your child, which makes you, I guess, a good quote-unquote boss if you want to produce a copy of yourself or whatever, or if you want to live vicariously through your offspring. But I'd say it makes you a bad parent in the whole, making your child grow into a happy, well-adjusted, functioning adult. Shall we find some,
I do believe that is where we need to leave it off for this episode, at least.
Oh, we're running out of storage space?
No, we're running out of time, given the fact that my bus leaves in 10 minutes.
Oh, Jeebus Crispius.
Yes.
You're leaving that early, eh?
Yeah, I got shit I need to take care of. So, yes, this concludes this episode of Fireside Talks. If you enjoyed it, feel free to like, subscribe, share, whatever the fuck kids do nowadays.
Yeah. Actually, our metrics show that 0% of the watchers here are subscribed. You might want to look into that. I can see you trying to stay serious over there on the sofa.
Oh, god damn you.
I knew this was the perfect place to start.
Yeah,
also, this video is not sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. Why don't you subscribe just because of that?
Goodbye, everybody.
Please come back.
Yeah,
We need
please.
you.